Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name is Jack, and today we're building a set that I have been wanting to do for a long time, ever since I saw the production shots of it. This is the BMW R1200 GS Adventure. The age recommendation for this build is 10 to 16. It is set number 42063, and it has 603 pieces. I have a feeling it's going to be a relatively complex build, even in terms of Technic. And as you can see from the back of the box, we have the alternate build, which is the brand new BMW Hoverbike. I know LEGO was actually pretty happy to be building this alternate build sort of in conjunction with the new release of this Hoverbike. I think it's a concept, but this review is just going to focus on the primary build. This is the one that I've really been wanting to put together. All right, let's check out how many bags we got inside the box. All right, so inside the box we've got 6 bags. As you can see, none of them are numbered, which means it's going to be more difficult to build. It's going to take a little bit longer. We've got the single manual that is the concept, and then the other manual that is the bike. That's what we're doing today. A couple of stickers and some gigantic wheel pieces. I really do like the look of these tires. But anyways, it's probably going to be a long build, so I'm starting. Alright, so the R1200 BMW bike is complete. It took about 2 hours to make, which isn't too bad considering the part count and the fact that the internal structure was pretty complex. Overall, I think the shape of this bike looks excellent. Remember, this is sort of a cross-country touring bike, and it's made for driving long distances without any sort of hiccups or breakdowns, and I think it's supposed to be a very comfortable bike as well. But just because it's supposed to be comfortable doesn't mean it can't take a beating. This is a very durable bike. You can see it looks like sort of a dirt bike almost. The tires have a lot of tread, so this thing is very much able to go off-roading and get banged up. And as I understand it, the cargo boxes on the back are also pretty sturdy, so if you take a tumble, any of the things you are bringing along with you for the trip shouldn't be getting damaged, or at least damaged too much. There is a realistic suspension system, one in the back that is a bit more sensitive, or at least has a little bit more bounce to it. And then there is a different set of spring-supported pistons in the front, or the exact same piece, but considering the angle where it is attached to the fork for the front wheel, it is just a little bit stiffer in terms of its bounciness. Now that is actually a pretty realistic way the suspension is acting. Usually you have a bit more bounce in the back, and the front suspension is better for minimizing some of those really harsh bumps that you might hit without noticing. So as you ride the bike around, it has the ability to drive over bumps and, well, any little obstacles that you put in front of it. And though know LEGO has made plenty of other vehicles that have the exact same parts that make up the suspension that we're using in the wheels. The bounce that we get for this bike feels incredibly realistic, and I think that's partially due to because the suspension is actually put in the same exact places, and really the frame of this bike is matched very, very realistically. So of course we get a lot of nice realistic bounce. Now, speaking of realism, this isn't the only thing that LEGO decided to include in the build that imitates what this bike actually does in real life, and I'm referring now to the engine. I don't know a huge amount, I'm not a huge gearhead, but I am aware of the Boxer twin engine or the parallel twin engines that BMW is very well known for putting into their motorcycles. It makes them a little bit more powerful, a little bit lighter, and also helps with the balance. And all you really need to know is that the signature build style for these engines are that the pistons are facing away from each other, or parallel to each other really. And here you can see that, yeah, that is exactly how they made up the engine here in the LEGO build. And I don't believe there is any other Technic build with this engine piston part that is oriented quite the same way. That is once again a very small detail to include, but LEGO included it nevertheless. I for one am happy that things like this can be put into a build when they don't necessarily have to be. But I haven't gotten to, I think, my favorite part of the build now, and that isn't so much the bike itself, but they managed to scale this bike pretty darn well with some of our Star Wars buildable figs. Granted that they don't scale perfectly, but I think this is a very quick and easy and fun way to get a rider on top of your motorcycle, because just about any of the Star Wars buildable figs will be able to sit down and hold on to the handlebars without too much trouble. Altogether, I'd say that this bike is very complete. I think the strong aspect of a Technic build is sort of a realistic and fun way to move the vehicle around, and I also think that it is important to have a lot of the internal structures kind of visible. Most of the time people like showing off what's kind of going on the inside, and as you can see, the piston action is very much on the outside, and you can really tell that they are parallel facing for this Boxer twin style. And we also have a pretty good look at how the fork was built in the front, and all of the suspension is exposed right on the surface pretty much. There is minimal sticker detailing, and none of which I think is very obtuse, and they only really serve to improve the look of the build. And by the way, if you wanted to see that 40th anniversary Technic printed piece, that is somewhere on the bottom. I know that soon we're going to be getting a Scout Trooper buildable fig that has a hoverbike, which is the first vehicle that is intentionally meant for any of the Star Wars buildable figs, but I would say unintentionally the BMW R1200 is the first vehicle that really works for these guys. At $60, 55 pounds, or 50 euro, I'd say the part to price ratio is pretty good for being 603 pieces, and this bike delivers both in functions, durability, and looks. I haven't built the alternate version, which is that new sort of concept version of the BMW Hoverbike that I think should be coming out in 2018. But if you want to take a crack at building that, of course there are instructions included for building that alternate version. End of the day though, I give this a very high review. I really do like this set a lot. Alright, that is it for this set, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember, if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and I have left a link in the video description below if you want to buy the set. Alright, that's it. See you next time at BrickVault.